Tonya Hofmann's fabulous. Tonya Hofmann's fabulous. Tonya Hofmann's fabulous, fabulous TV show. Tonya.
Hello, everyone. I'm so glad that you're back on my show today. We are going to have a blast like we always do. I am Tonya Hofmann. This is my fabulous TV show, and I have the Danny R. Glover here today. Hey, Danny.
Hey, Tonya.
So Danny will be on in just a minute. You know, we always bring on the most amazing people, and stick around to the end because he's always got something great to give you or lead you to or something. So we'll talk to him in just a minute. So today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, you know, when you show up, are you showing up? I mean, are you really there in the moment? And I'm talking about anything. You go to networking groups for your business. Are you there? Are you present to the moment? Are you just kind of coasting through life? When you're with your family, are you there, right? Did you even remember anything that happened when you had dinner, right? If you don't know what you do each day, you have totally lost an incredible opportunity because it's called time. And you cannot get that time back. So I want you to stop and focus whenever you're doing something. Be really present in the moment. Well, I kind of started playing this little game with myself because I started realizing I wasn't present all the time. And if my husband comes in to talk to me, I stop, right? If I need to finish something that's really impertinent that I need to get out of my head first, I just motion for a minute, finish it, and now I give him my entire attention. Same thing with my children, entire attention. If they're wanting to tell me something, they want to tell me something. So why am I not listening? Same thing for your clients. If they're calling you, if they're emailing you, there's a reason. So I want you to be really present from now on. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to bring Danny in. He is amazing. And he's got all this relationship stuff down. We're going to find out a little bit about that in a minute. So Danny, tell us a little bit about you and who you are and how fabulous you are.
Oh, thank you, Tonya, but you're the fabulous one. I've learned a lot through the School of Hard Knocks. I tell people that I have a PhD in failure. So it's been an amazing ride. I'm getting up in years, but I haven't lost the fire for growing and continuing to grow myself and also helping other people grow. I've been coaching now for a few years, and it has amazed me the number of 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds that have hired me to coach them. I just did not realize on the front end that I was going to connect with that segment of the population. But that's where probably 80–90% of my business is coming from. And it gives me such a thrill to work with these young professionals as they try to climb that ladder of success. And we hope we can help them keep that ladder against the right wall so that when they get to the top, it's where they wanted to be. And you know, I've never met anyone that sometimes when I'm speaking, I'll ask how many people got up this morning and said, I want to be a failure today. Never had anybody say yes to that. Sometimes I'll ask them, how many of you want to just be average? I've never had many takers on that one either. Now, most of us have a dream, a desire, a heartthrob to be special, to be unique, to be successful. And I don't care. There's no simple definition for success. Everybody has to define that for themselves. But today we want to talk about real success. And I pulled this from my John Maxwell team training. But you're going to also see some of the DISC profile, personality profile, weaved into it from my association with Personality Insights in Atlanta, Georgia. And because you can't be a success without other people.
Right. And
Just
I find
period.
that's one of the biggest problems that people really run into is they try to do everything themselves and they're not reaching out, and they're always wanting to make sure everything is perfect so that they have that kind of still employee mindset, right? That everything's got to be perfect so they don't get fired, versus an entrepreneurial mindset. Let's see what doesn't work so we can find the stuff that does.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody asked Thomas Edison one day, he said, didn't you get discouraged after 999 tries developing a light bulb? He said, no, I found 999 ways that would not work. So I'm getting closer, nailing it down.
Nice. So tell us a little bit about this real acronym that you have.
Sure. It's actually it's lifted out of a book by John Maxwell, and The Journey to Success, where you know yourself, grow yourself, and then give yourself away. But the real is an acrostic that the R stands for relationships, the E stands for equipping, the A stands for attitude, and the L stands for leadership. And as we weave these together today, you're going to see how important each point is. And also, I hope that you'll realize that you're never done with any one of them. Every one of them leans on the previous one and prepares for the next one. And so, a lot of people feel like they're in a rut. I heard an old preacher say one day that a rut is just a grave with both ends kicked out. but you're still stuck. You're still stuck. And all of us get into ruts, by the way. It's a human tendency for us to do that. We try to find a comfort zone, and when we find one, we want to try to stay in it. And one of the keys to success, of course, is continuing to grow and to strive and to be the very best that you can be today.
Yeah,
not the very best you could be yesterday.
Well, that's what I think. People have goals, and my goal every year is always to look back at myself and not recognize myself, because if you could recognize yourself means you haven't grown at all. And believe me, there are times that I'm like, because one of my rules is I'm not allowed to be comfortable. And believe me, there are some days I'm like, okay, I'm just taking a comfort day because I can't stretch anymore today. But it is so much fun and so fulfilling when you've done something you thought you never were able to do. Even like, this show. I'm like,
yeah. I mean, who would have thought, right?
Exactly. This introvert.
Introvert.
I know,
Wow.
People never believe me. I'm like, oh yes, I was the biggest introvert ever. If I could get here, anybody can get anywhere.
It's funny you say that, because I'm a very outgoing person and very talkative and interactive and hopefully inspiring. At least that's what my wife tells me. And, but there was a period of my life, and actually there have been several periods in my life when I've reverted back to a quiet, sullen, almost withdrawn kind of person. And I tell people that I'm either higher than a kite or I'm lower than the skunk's belly, and there's not much middle ground in there. But most of my time around other people is I'm up. I love being around people.
That's awesome. Well, and that probably brings into the relationships, right? Building relationships, and
Yeah, it does, and it's my leadership development started after my high school principal expelled me from school and told me that he thought I might want to join. I might want to think about joining the military. So a couple of weeks later, I did exactly that. He later said, the only place I ever told Glover to go that he went was the Army. So the neat thing about that story, a little bit of backstory there, the principal's name was L. Dent Miller, and we called him L. Dent. It was his nickname, never to his face.
Right.
He was a big guy, but he was one of the greatest leaders that I've ever worked around. He integrated a high school system in the South without any trouble at all. And he did that because he had some meetings before the meeting to let people know that it was going to be integrated. And so he did some things, but he was a great relationship guy. And a lot of what I know about building relationships, I learned from L. Dent, who, by the way, remained my friend and my mentor until he died last year.
Aww.
Yeah, and so I got to tell you, the church where the funeral was the largest in the city, and it was packed, and mostly, well, almost entirely, with the exception of the family, it was packed with influencers from the community. It was packed with students that he had been teacher and principal of. It was packed with employees from the businesses that he operated after his school days, and it's just amazing. I've never seen a crowd like that at a funeral I've ever been to.
Well, that's really what you want through life. At least what I find most people want is to have that kind of amazing impact on people's lives. That's why with the Public Speakers Association, our tagline is change the world from the front of the room. And right. I find that people really do. They want to help people. They want to change lives. And I think that's what that building relationships is such an important component.
It really is. It really is. And building relationships really starts with having a good relationship with yourself. If you don't like you, very few other people are going to. And a lot of times that can be jump-started with, say, some kind of a personality assessment. My preference is the DISC because that's what I use, DISC. But what I know is, and this goes all the way back to Hippocrates, formalized back in the 1930s and 40s by Dr. William Marston out of Harvard, who, by the way, was also the creator of Wonder Woman. So,
that is crazy.
yeah. That's just that was free. That was free. It wasn't even on the script. But he put it into the DISC format, and all it means is that everybody in the world, you can take them and you can break them into two groups. Some are outgoing, some are more reserved, and it's not all the time. It's not 100%, but the majority of time, if they have their options, they'll be outgoing, or they might be reserved. I'm an outgoing guy. I'm married to a reserved, wonderful lady, and we tend to look for our opposites in this human behavior model. We tend to look for our opposites when we in a mate, and we tend to look for sameness with friends. which is kind of interesting to me. But I've done personality profiles and training with thousands of people ever since 1994. And that's just been one thing that has been constant. Every time I do a marriage retreat or speaking to a group like that, I'll take a little survey, and almost, I would say 90% of the people in those groups are married to their opposite.
I know I am.
Yeah, but you got the wonderful Michael there. So that's good. That's good.
I always tell people, it helps to be married to a geek. I'm just saying.
I wish my wife was a geek, but she's not. She's not. But she's a great servant, and she's great with details, and I'm not so much. But with the relationships piece, once you understand, by the way, everybody's either outgoing or reserved. You can divide it into another two groups, making 4 groups total, but everybody is either people-oriented or task-oriented. most of the time. I mean, that's just the preference. And there's nothing wrong with either one of those, by the way. They're just different. You know, God made us, and as Ethel Waters used to say, God don't make no junk. You know, so none of us are throwaways. We're all keepers, and every one of these personality styles. By the way, you come up with about 41 total blends of those 4 groups. If you break it out, which is and then you add to that life experiences that tend to shade that behavioral style. And so all of us are unique. We're as different as snowflakes. And, you know, there's no 2 of us alike anywhere. And so even if you're very much alike, you're not exactly alike. And so that makes life interesting. But the best way to understand, to work with that, and you know, I find a lot of people in organizations, corporations, churches, nonprofits that have taken a DISC profile, but it's become shelf help instead of self-help. You know what I mean? It's ended up in a file folder someplace. And
people don't know how to use it, you know, because a lot of it is just data, and they're like, okay, well, what do I do with that? Instead of just realizing it's just helping you figure out, you know, how to connect with people in the way they want to be connected to.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's Tonya, you hit it right on the head. Yes. You know, if I know me and I can understand you, I am then responsible to adapt to better work with you, have a relationship with you, communicate with you. I understand that there's differences behaviorally about how people view time, how they view conflict, how they communicate, how they set expectations, their ease of forgiveness, both of themselves and others. It's all different with different behavioral styles. And if I understand that, then when I'm speaking, for instance, Tonya, on a stage, I realize that I've got 4 different personality styles sitting in that audience. And I have to give enough bottom line information for the outgoing person who is task-oriented. I have to give enough detailed information for the person who is reserved but task-oriented. I have to give some kumbaya stuff for that person who is reserved and people-oriented. And we have to have some fun for the people that are like me. You know, they're outgoing and people-oriented. And so everybody's looking for different things. They measure success differently. But no matter how you measure success, it all starts with relationships. Knowing yourself, understanding yourself, and valuing yourself. You know, in the Bible, there's a verse that says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, and then love your neighbor as you love yourself, in the same way that you love yourself. So self-love is not a bad thing at all. Matter of fact, it's very healthy. Now, I'm not talking about an egomaniac, you know, who is the center of the universe in their own estimation. But, you know, the guy on Cheers, the famous quote from that, he said, you know, enough of us talking about me. Let's talk about you. What do you think about me? You know, and you can't see the picture if you're in the frame. So you got to get out of the frame in order to view the world and to understand people. But when you understand that there's different types of behavior, for instance, if I'm talking to my wife, I try to remember to slow down a little bit, soften the tone of my voice, and make sure that I'm talking about we instead of me or you.
Yes.
You know, and that brings her in. Yes. And so the way people communicate is, I mean, communication is the big key. But a person can never be a real success without other people helping them. And here's the truth: if you can't get along with people, people will not go along with you.
Yeah, I love that.
You know, and so it has to happen.
Well, and really, when you look at everything, I've talked to, do corporate trainings, and usually it's the breakdown of the relationships because people are trying to get everybody to do everything the way they like things to be done.
Yeah, that's what some people call delegation.
Yeah, exactly.
But
do it the way I want you to do it.
That's it. And the truth is, no, go ahead.
And then there's the people that are entrepreneurs, they're out there and they're trying to do all this marketing, and they're only marketing to themselves. They're not marketing to actual people. They're talking about what they want and what they want out of everything instead of what realistically, so you see a lot of disconnects that people have because they're not looking at building an actual relationship. They're just looking at what's in it for me and how can I get everyone to do the way I want it to be done.
Oh yeah. I've had the privilege of having Les Brown as a mentor, and he said something a few years ago that just really caught my attention. He said, when you're speaking, remember don't give the audience what you need to say. Give the audience what they need to hear. And that is and that's true whether you're on the stage or whether you're sitting across knee to knee, eye to eye with another person, and well, I was going to say, and one of the big keys of building good relationships is to stay focused on the other person.
Yeah, just close your mouth and open your ears. It's the basics. I can't tell you how many times I just get so frustrated, right? Because I love communicating with people. I love buying from people. I love helping. And when someone's trying to sell me and I tell them how I want them to sell me, how do I want to buy their product, and they don't do it? Oh my gosh. It's so frustrating. I'm like, okay, I don't need to know all that stuff that you're trying to tell me and shove down my throat. I don't care. But to them, it's so important. They can't imagine that I would buy it without knowing that information. But they're not listening.
Well, and in this real success, you take somebody that's in sales, for instance, and by the way, we all are. All of us are in sales. We all have a product or an idea or a desire that we're trying to sell, get other people to take, whether they're paying for it out with money or whether they're just paying for it by the investment in it. And so we're all in sales, but sales is, selling is not, or telling is not selling.
Yes.
A conversation that finds out what somebody wants, desires, needs. Zig Ziglar said it this way years ago. A great guy. And we miss him. But Zig said, if you help enough people get what they want, they will help you get what you want. But the key is on serving, right?
Exactly. And I know for me, when I talk to people all the time that, is looking for a speaker, I'll apply for the speaking opportunity, but immediately I will tell them, I will help them promote their event and connect them to sponsors and other speakers just because I want to help. And just by the mere fact that I'm willing to do something for them, even if I'm not selected as a speaker, sets me apart. And I've gotten more opportunities and other things that have happened from that you can even imagine. I could never even imagine or even pay for, right? It just happens because I have that servant's heart that says, here, I want to help you. And now look at what's coming back my way.
Absolutely. And that's so big because relationships really do develop when people know that you value them, that you listen to them, that you care for them, and that you can help them get what they want to get in life.
Yes.
Because I love something John Maxwell said a few years ago, that you cannot add value to people you do not value.
I love that.
It's just caring for people. I probably need to move on now to the next letter in this acrostic, huh?
Well, it we're going to have you come back on at least probably 3 more times.
Okay. Well, that'd be great.
Right, we're running out at the end of our time for the show. So I know, how can people get a hold of you, and do you have something that you would like to give away for them, to get in connection?
If they like what I've been talking about, they would love my Maximizing Your Potential blog, and at DannyRGlover.com, you'll be able to sign up for that, and would love to have you to do that. And here's another bonus with that, is that every now and then I will throw out free coaching appointments from that to those who are signed up for the blog. And that's not for the general public. It's just for those who are taking the journey with me through the blog. And so, as a matter of fact, today what I'll do is the next 3 people that sign up for that blog, I'm going to get with them and give them a free 30-minute coaching session on any topic they choose.
Perfect. So make sure that you go to Danny, that's with the Y, R Glover, the V, right now at .com, so that you can take advantage of that. And even if you're listening to this like a year from now, go ahead, sign up, get connected with him. He's obviously someone that you need to know. And for all you people that are like, I need to bring in Danny to speak at my next event, it's easy to find out all of his contact information and a little bit of his bio and everything. Go to Public Speakers Association, and under our speaker search tab, you can simply put in Danny into the search bar. It'll pop him up. Click on that, and you can find out all kinds of fabulous pictures of him and about him and how to get in contact with him, including be able just to email right through the system. So it's super easy to do that. So thank you, Danny, for being on today. And yes, I'm really serious. I want you to come back and let's get to at least, maybe.
Yeah. Well, the other ones aren't quite as long, but it's but I've enjoyed talking with you so much today, Tonya, that time just got gone on me.
Exactly. So yes, make sure that you get all connected to Danny. Also, go to the website and check us out, Public Speakers with an S, Association.com. Check out how to become a speaker. If you are a speaker, we're constantly sending out speaking opportunities. We'd love to have you get involved. We have chapter meetings throughout the U.S. and Canada and soon beyond that, but we have a virtual chapter also. So you can just simply call in and listen in. So any way you can do it, we want you there, but it's about getting you out there so you can change lives, make some money while you're doing it, and have a blast the whole time. So thank you, Danny, for coming back on. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Tonya, for having me. Do I have time for one quick
Sure, go
tidbit?
ahead.
Okay, Chick-fil-A is a phenomenal organization, and they've got a great leadership culture, started by Truett Cathy and being carried on now by Dan Cathy and some of the others. But I met Dan in Orlando at the Marriott World Center 2 years ago, and we talked for just a little bit. And of course, there were hundreds of people wanting to talk to him. And then he had his own owner-operators there for a meeting started the day after our meeting ended. And the next day, I'm walking down the hall, and I hear somebody call my name, Danny. And I turned around, and it was Dan Cathy. And I thought to myself, out of all the hundreds of people he talked to, he remembered my name. That is one indicator of a great success. He's a relationship guy.
Well, and that you're rememberable.
Okay.
So there you go, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that too.
That's a plug. That's pretty good. All right, everybody. So glad that you were on our show today. Make sure you check us out next time and have a blast today. Don't go through another day without having a big smile on your face. So thank you. See y'all later. Bye, Danny. Bye, everybody.